Well, what's this all about, Scott?
Well, you know, it's our new $65 million new library here in Academic Center. It's a dream come true here for the university. As it says right here in the paper,
which paper?
This is the Tribune. It
Tribune?
was Sunday's Tribune. It was a little misprint there. They kind of forgot the decimal point, but it looks better, you know, for the public around, you know, for the citizens.
In value, though, we'd say that
it's at least worth $65 million.
Yeah.
You know, it's a dream come true.
It
but
is,
they always mention in these articles a former Alpha Beta grocery store. You know, and TG and Y drugstore. You know, and looking at that building, I just don't see a drugstore and an Alpha Beta there. You know, I see our new library coming true. You know, opening with a beautiful ceremony.
Even if it were 65 million, but that was what, probably 6.5 million?
6.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, the major question in my mind is, will the paper print a retraction and say it wasn't exactly as expensive as we said?
Probably not.
Nah, I don't think so. But it is a beautiful center. Art gallery, classrooms, it's wonderful.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Morgan, President of the University of La Verne, and I'm delighted to welcome you to a historic day in the life of this institution. We were founded in 1891, almost on this exact location, in what was then the Lordsburg Hotel. We've come a long way since then, and we're pleased that you've joined us today to celebrate that long way that we've come. Putting together a project like this is really a partnership. There are many, many people involved. But one of the most important groups we worked with was the City of La Verne. They were helpful in planning the project and seeing that it could be built on this location in a way that met the needs of our students and faculty members. John Blickenstaff, the mayor of the city, could not be with us today, but we have with us a member of the City Council and also a member of the University of La Verne community, which makes it very special, Dr. Tom Harvey, who serves as Dean of Organizational Management when he isn't doing city business, and he has some greetings from the City of La Verne on On behalf of John Blickenstaff, the mayor. Tom?
John did want me to pass along his regrets for not being able to be here today. So on behalf of the City of Laverne, I want to thank you for inviting me and inviting the city to be part of this celebration and dedication. Steve used the word partnership, and that is a very powerful word for us. We believe that the university and the City of Laverne have long been important partners. In some recent years, some examples of our partnership have been the city assisted the university in beautifying and building a number of new construction projects by being a conduit for borrowing money through a bond issue. The city has been allowed by the university to use the old gym for a number of purposes for youth sports. And we have in turn been involved in allowing the university to use a swimming pool at Lost Forest Park. So we have that partnership and working together. The city purchased 2 transit vans, which we leased to the university for $1 a year. Which reminds me, I don't think we've got our dollar yet. You got to take care of business. We also worked together to build the parking lot on Bonita and C Street, and we've done a number of things. The bookstore that a number of you knew were in a tent once upon a time. We moved to downtown Laverne and did a number of efforts through the redevelopment agency to help beautify and anchor Old Town Laverne through that bookstore. The university has been graciously involved in offering city employees reduced tuition for courses taken at ULV as part of their partnership program with the city. And there's a number of other things where the university has hosted events for the city, and we've worked with them. So it's a very powerful partnership we have, and there are just one of a number of other examples I could use. But it's clear that the city of Laverne needs the University of Laverne, and the University of Laverne needs the city. We work well together. And when we do work together, I think we serve all of our constituencies well. As a city, we have long believed in the notion of teamwork. And we believe that the university is one of the most important parts of our team. And as we move towards the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years together, we have a number of other projects we hope we can work together on. This Landis Academic Center and Wilson Library, we believe, will serve all of us proudly. As people pass through the city, they will move in awe looking at these buildings and what they believe in. But it also symbolizes something. As a community, we are a community of learners. And we believe these kinds of facilities will encourage and excite greater learning here at the university and at the city of Laverne. So we want to thank the generosity of Betty and Elvin Wilson, and Beth and Richard Landis, Bill, Ben, and Barbara Harris, and a variety of others of you who've given so generously to these buildings. It is very important, not just to the university, but it's important to the town of Laverne, to the city of Laverne, because these facilities make both of us stronger and better. So we thank you for your generosity, and may we dedicate these alabaster buildings to bring luster to all of us who work and live in the city of Laverne. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tom. We appreciate the partnership, and we appreciate your leadership in the city of Laverne and on the campus of the University of Laverne. You contribute a great deal, and we're grateful for that. Another piece of this project and the success of any university is really vested in the members of the Board of Trustees. They are the continuity, they are the leadership, they are the force behind the growth and development of an institution. And we're pleased at the University of Laverne to have such an outstanding group of trustees who serve us so well, providing counsel, providing resources to our development. The Board of Trustees at the University are led by Chairman Jim Long, and I have the pleasure of introducing him now to say a few words on behalf of this project. Jim?
Well, good afternoon. As a representative of the Board of Trustees of the University of Laverne, I welcome you. Rush Limbaugh, one of my mentors, says not to give a lot of statistics or figures because people don't remember them and they're really not interested in them. But I'm going to violate my ditto head credits right now and give you a few about the facilities here. This is a 50,000 square foot project. It's the largest in the 105th year of the history of the University of Laverne. and its $6.5 million cost is the most expensive project ever in the university. In the Landis Academic Center, you will notice that you're going to visit the Howe Board and the Harris Art Gallery. These are the first areas on this campus designed for these specific purposes. The Wilson Library will serve approximately 2,100 students on campus and approximately 6,000 students overall using CD-ROM. The Wilson Library has a capacity for 250,000 volumes. You are sitting or standing on some of the 800 bricks sold for the Walk of Honor. Additionally, over 700 individuals, corporations, foundations, businesses contributed to this project. The Board of Trustees of the University of Laverne take this opportunity to thank all of you for your interest and your concerns and your contributions to this day. There are a couple individuals that are not with us today. They were on the Finance Committee with me during the discussion about building this building, and I would like to just mention their names. Russell Fraser, Russell France, Owen Lewis, and Dr. Skip Monero. Thank you very much.
This project started 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a long time in the making. And I need to tell you a story about how we selected the architect for this particular facility. When we started talking about a library facility, Marlon Heckman, the librarian, came to me and he had a write-up about a fellow named Ben Weiss, and he said, this person is an expert in designing libraries, and he's an architect from Chicago. And I said, Marlon, we won't hire an out-of-state architect. We did that with another project. It doesn't work very well, but give me the information anyway. And he did. And he said, well, if we couldn't use him as the architect, maybe we could use him as a consultant on the project. And I said, well, that makes some sense. At that time, my wife, Ann, was volunteering her services for the University of Laverne, and I said, Ann, I have a new project for you. I'd like you to be the project coordinator for the planning and development of our new library and academic center. And I'd like you first to locate architects who specialize in college and university library buildings, and let's put out a request for proposals and see if we can't find the best architect in the country. And I said, oh, by the way, here's a name and address that Marlon gave me, but you don't need to pay much attention to this, but let's placate Marlon and let's send them a request for proposal. And she did that, and she gathered a number of architects, and they gave us proposals, and they came in and went through a very lengthy interview process, and a number of the members of our Board of Trustees were part of that interview process. And lo and behold, this name that Marlon had suggested emerged as the person we wanted to work with, and he did design the building, and I'll introduce him in a few minutes. But that's how we chose the architect for this particular facility. And I want to introduce now several people who were involved in the design of this particular complex that we're dedicating today. And I want to start by recognizing my wife, Ann Morgan, because she was the project coordinator in her first life. And I'd now like to introduce the architect and his associate. Ben Weiss designed this building, and Rich Klein worked with him on creating the drawings for this building. And I think as you go through it, you'll see what a fine choice we made. Ben is a very creative person. He's used this space creatively. He got the most for the dollars from the University of Laverne, and had the department's design program statements saying the kinds of space they needed and wanted and the kinds of activities that needed to take place, and then Ben put it into the design of a building. And when they got the program statements, they were probably about that thick, probably weighed about 200 pounds. And then I said to Ben, and you need to do all of this within a $6.5 million budget. That's where the rubber meets the road in designing facilities like this. And Ben Weiss has just done a marvelous job. I'm extremely proud of this facility, and I hope he is too. So way back in the back. and Patrick Sullivan from Claremont was my local architect. I still wouldn't give in. I said, we need a local architect to be on the job, and certainly Patrick helped us a great deal in the early design phases of this facility. Well, after designing a building like this, it has to be built. And we are very fortunate at the University of La Verne to have a former member of the Board of Trustees and a member of the Board of Trustees who happen to be in the construction business, Ben Harris and Bill Harris. Ben is the immediate past chair of the Board of Trustees. They built the Oaks, a residence hall for us. They did Woody Hall. They did the student affairs offices over here. And now this major project on our campus. And they said, Steve, we'll build this building for you and we won't charge our normal profit. We'll do it at cost. They also have a group of subcontractors who I know they pounded on and hammered on to get the lowest possible bids. They saved us an enormous amount of money on this project, and we're grateful to Ben and Bill Harris for the contributions they made. They had a superintendent on this job who oversaw it every day, every hour of every day. He worked with the subcontractors, he worked with the architects, he brought the project in on budget and on time. He's just a heck of a guy to have around a job like this. He's a high-strung, nervous type, just the kind we want for this project. And I'm pleased to introduce Gary Fisher. Gary, would you stand? Actually, he's only half as good as I said. Stephanie Paulson, who assisted him on this project, also played a major role in the success of the construction of the Wilson Library and the Landis Academic Center. And Stephanie, I'd like to embarrass you and ask you to please stand at this time. Also, you need someone from the university to oversee all of those people. It's not that you shouldn't mistrust construction people at all. I'm not meaning to say that. But we wanted someone to protect our interests as the owners. And we're fortunate at the University of La Verne to have a very talented guy who directs the operations of all of our physical plant. And he's not just a physical plant guy, he's an artist, he's kind of a Renaissance man, has his degree in psychology and behavioral science, as I recall, from Pomona College. And he oversaw this on a day-to-day basis. He would play good cop, bad cop with the subcontractors and others, and he really does a marvelous job at all of that. Brian Warden. Well, once you've designed and you've built a facility like this one, I think only about half the work is done because you have to move in. Now that may sound easy to you, but can you imagine moving about 160,000 volumes, moving all of the periodicals, trying to find a place for everything? And you know, you can't just put them on the shelves helter-skelter. You have to know where they are. They have to be in logical orders. And it is really a massive task. And we are fortunate at the University of La Verne to have a librarian, Dr. Marlon Heckman, who hasn't done this just once. Not just twice, not 3 times, but I believe he's been responsible for at least 4 library moves in his career. Only 3 of those at the University of La Verne. He was trained at the Bethany Theological Seminary. He moved their library for them. He moved from the Hoover Library across the street to the Wilson Library in the mid-70s, when we converted the Alpha Beta into our library. He had to move out of that facility into temporary quarters while we built this facility, and then move back in. And he did most of that with a smile on his face. And we're delighted to have Marlon Heckman as our librarian, and all of the members of his staff who played a major role in the moving of these facilities. Marlon is right here by the door, guarding it. I'd like his librarian to Library staff. Thank you very much for all of that. I'd like to have Gary and Stephanie and Brian and Marlon and Ann just come up here to the platform for a minute. I have a little token of appreciation for all of you. We have a framed copy of the program for today's dedication for each of you. Please display it proudly where all of your wealthy friends will see it and ask about giving opportunities to the University of Laverne. It's also important to finance a facility such as this one. You really can't build it without financing it, and I want to thank the late Skip Monero for his contribution to financing this building. He was instrumental in working with the Sallie Mae Group to get some of the bond funding that went into the construction of this building, and also with the Moody's Group to get the first investment grade rating for the University of Laverne in our history. And Skip cannot be with us today, but his wife Nancy is here, and we express our appreciation. Now, the other part of the funding for this building came from all of you who were so generous in contributing to the construction of the Wilson Library and the Landis Academic Center. And I want to thank those of you who are the donors who are with us today for making this possible. It will serve generations of students to come. And I also want to thank Gene Runzo and the University Relations staff for the fine job of fundraising that they did in making this project possible. So thanks to Gene and her staff and all of you who are contributing. And for those of you who bought bricks in the Walk of Honor, this has been a very interesting project. I estimated we'd sell 200 or 300 bricks. We've sold some 800 bricks, and I dare you to find yours in here without the map or some help from someone. There is a map available. It's got names and numbers, and you'll be able to locate your brick much more easily. It's really magnificent to have this as the entrance to these two buildings, and to have all of you who've been involved in this institution recognized in this way. We have 4 groups of people we want to say special thanks to today. To the Harrises, to Ben and Barbara and Bill and Harriet Harris for your contributions. Their contributions in kind to this university through the construction projects are well into the 7 figures at this point. And they made it possible to build this much building within our budget because we did build it for the lowest possible cost, thanks to the work that they have done. And also to Bill for his leadership on the Board of Trustees, and to Ben and Barbara. Ben is the immediate past chair of the Board of Trustees and a leader who helped bring a great turnaround at the University of Laverne, working with the trustees and many donors. He and I and Barbara and Ann have shared many chicken dinners together, and we appreciated their availability for the cultivation and appreciation to donors. So it is really a pleasure for us to be able to recognize the Harrises today and to say thank you for all that you've contributed to the life of this institution. We've named the Harris Art Gallery in honor of the Harris family. They are interested in art, they are interested in buildings and facilities, and we think it's appropriate that the first permanent gallery in the history of the institution be named in recognition of your significant contributions to us. And I'd like to ask Ben and Bill if they'd like to come up and say just a few words at this time. Now, you need to determine which one is Bill and which one is Ben.
Well, I didn't know we were going to be up here saying too much. This is Bill. And it gets confusing sometimes. But, you know, I look back to I guess it was almost 2 years ago in March, this coming March, when Bill and myself and Gary got out here. In fact, it was right in this area here. Arrived with the pickup trucks and shovels and some wheelbarrows and started digging the trenches. It was seeing the building. And we had really been through it, and it was something that was really gratifying from our standpoint to spend that much time here developing the library. But I think one of the pleasures we had as builders, so many times we work from a set of plans where it says that there's a door, or you know, the ceiling's 8 foot high, and they call them construction or builder's plans, where you look at it and there are 3 sheets and you're supposed to build something. Well, Ben Weiss fortunately gave us a set of plans that were really magnificent, gave us something to work with, and we really wound up here with a Cadillac, or maybe not even a Cadillac, I'd say a Rolls Royce of the building. In all of our years of construction, I think that we had, this was probably the biggest test we've had as far as putting this puzzle together. And I think you can see what was done here with the architect's guidance turned out very nice. Did you want to say something?
First, I'd like to introduce my dad, Willard Harris. There, stand.
Wait a minute, Bill. You ought to introduce your wife.
Yeah, but that's just what I'm ready to do. My wife, but no, Harriet, and Ben's wife, Barbara. As a former board member, I really appreciate what's gone on here. I was here 20-some years ago, and I was on for 10 or 15 years. And I never dreamed that this university would be the way it is today. And I think Steve Morgan was the turning point. I think when we hired Steve, it really turned this whole thing around. Steve is one of the bright young presidents around Southern California, and he's really done a fantastic job. I want to congratulate my brother. I know as a fact that he dug in and spent hours and days, and a lot of his time up here, concerned about not only this building, but everything else that's gone on. Everything else that's gone on around here for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. In the old days, about every summertime, the guys that were on the board, they remember, our president would come to us and he'd say, we're going to need $200,000 to $300,000 to get through the summer, and then everybody would figure out how to get the money in. And some of the wealthier guys, like Owen, would write checks. So it's changed, and I think Steve and his staff and his gang and this board of directors, I tell you, you really deserve a great hand. These guys have done a fantastic job with what they had to work with, and they've turned it around in a very short period of time. And it's a pleasure for us to do whatever we can do. Ben and I have been hanging around Laverne since we were about 12 years old. Brother in church, we always came up here. We went to camps, and we came to the church up here and other things. And I have a special interest. My son went to Laverne, and I know he enjoyed it because he was here 6 or 7 years. Stand up. Anyway, you guys have got a great team here, and I know everybody should really feel good about it.
I want to say one last thing. I sold some bricks. For those people that don't know, we still have bricks available. We can still sell you a brick. It's going to cost you $125 rather than $100. So afterwards, if you want to see Gene Renzo or any one of the board of trustees, see us about some bricks. We still have some for sale.
Thanks to the Harrises. And Willard, thank you for sending these 2 fine fellows to us for their years of service. Their uncle, C.D. Harris, was on the Board of Trustees for a number of years, and when he decided to retire, he said, I have these 2 young nephews, and I'd like them to get involved with the University of Laverne, and we thank C.D., wherever he is today, for sending the Harris brothers to us and their wives who have been partners in this process. Thank you very much. The next person I want to introduce is Howell. The Howell Boardroom upstairs in the Landis Academic Center is named the Howell Boardroom in honor of Frank Howell and Ida Howell. Frank Howell was the serving chair of the Board of Trustees of the University of La Verne, and a real force here during the Harold Fosnot years of the presidency of this institution. And Ida is celebrating her 30th year this year as an honorary member of the Board of Trustees. Ida Howell is an inspiration to all of us. I don't think she's trying to hide her age, but she's over 90 years old and still acting like I wish I could act, and I'm not quite 90 yet. I don't think I was ever very bright, but I was younger once. Ida, we're delighted to have this opportunity to honor you and Frank. It's very appropriate because of your leadership on the Board of Trustees and Frank's leadership of the Board of Trustees that the boardroom be named in your honor. And Ida, I'd like to invite you forward to say whatever you'd like to today.
This is a great day of celebration. All the things that I thought I would say have already been said, and that's fortunate. I wonder if you all realize that trustees are men and women who are invited to volunteer their time and their expertise and their money, and in addition to that, to be responsible for all that goes on at the University of La Verne. They have worked for a long time under less than the best of circumstances, and I think it's very appropriate that now we have a special boardroom where the Board of Trustees can meet together in comfort and continue their work. I think it's also appropriate that in naming the library, or the trustee room, the Frank B. Howell room, it's appropriate to recognize that the late Frank Howell has served the longest terms of any trustee in the history of the university, and you will read more about it in your program there. His family would like to thank you for this recognition.
All who have the privilege of knowing Ida know that she epitomizes the values of this institution, the values that we state in our mission statement, and it is really a pleasure for us to continue to work with you, Ida, and have your leadership on the Board of Trustees. The next people we want to introduce are Elvin and Betty Wilson, and they have literally known me all of my life, and even a little bit longer, because my mother and Betty and Elvin went to La Verne College together in the 30s, and my mother and Betty Wilson have been in a bridge club that you couldn't say that in the 30s. I don't know where they played their bridge, but they did it very quietly on this campus, I assure you. But they started a bridge club back in the 30s that still meets on a regular basis today, and I think if you were to submit that to the Guinness Book of World Records, you'd probably see that that's the longest living bridge club in history. I have known them for all of my life, and they have been extremely loyal graduates of the University of La Verne for all of their lives. Elvin was his senior class president, and he still to this day gets that group together, stays in contact with them. He served on the Board of Trustees and on the Executive Committee of the University of La Verne, and they have been investing their resources in this institution very generously for all of the years that they have been a part of this university community. And they made a significant contribution to the institution back in the 70s when we purchased this piece of property where this building stands today. That was the Alpha Beta, the TG&Y, and the barber shop. Loretta Romani's new office will be where the barber shop used to be. And then they again continued to invest in the life of the institution, and we went to them with this project, and they said, we'd like to provide funds that will endow the library to ensure that it will continue to be able to add additional resources year in and year out for generations to come. They have been extremely generous to this institution. They have sent us members of their family over the years, and their son Don serves on our Board of Trustees and on the Executive Committee. And like Dick Landis, Elvin Wilson was a business executive who rose to very high ranks, and wherever he and Betty went, people knew that they were affiliated with the University of Laverne. So it is a real privilege today to dedicate the Wilson Library, the second version of the Wilson Library, to Elvin and Betty Wilson for all that they have contributed to their alma mater and the enormous difference they have made in the life and history of the University of Laverne. Elvin and Betty, we are going to officially cut the ribbon. There's a ribbon up here that says University of Laverne, Wilson Library, and Landis Academic Center. And I want to invite Elvin and Betty, Dick and Beth, and Bill and Ben, although Ben must have... Oh, Ben's here. Oh, he's probably just doing a final inspection tour. And Ida Howell to please join me at the ribbon. We're going to cut the ribbon, and that's the end of the program, and the buildings are yours to enjoy. I have scissors for each of you. Now don't cut until I tell you. These giant scissors that I have don't cut anything, but they look great in pictures, so we borrowed them from the Chamber of Commerce. Now don't cut until we're ready. We're going to pose for a few pictures. When the photographers have their pictures, tell us, and then we'll give the cue to really cut and open the doors. And we'd like all of you to turn, who are cutting, to turn and face the audience. That's right, get behind the ribbon.
Or just a bit.
You have all the pictures you want? All right, on your mark, get set, cut! And now enjoy the pictures.
Great day.
Where's number 2, Bill?
Oh, she's around here somewhere.
And that's she. Where's number 2?
See, I'm still around to take your picture.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I wish we could have used our eyes.
Yeah. Pay attention so you don't feel awkward.
We're not awkward.
No.
Study room already. That's great. We're just going to my study room. Oh, over there. Yes. And you're the first one, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, Phyllis over here. How are you?
Try it out.
You're making me so
Well,
I'm so
hiya.
excited about this. I need to go back and see Carol. Hey girl, how are ya?
Alamut. Yeah.
Oh, that I know. He was in school. Well, I thought so because he finished before I came. Oh, well, sure.
Well, of course.
Well, yeah. He was a great guy. Still is. Bye. I've been vacuuming or carving all morning. Thank you.
What a wonderful place, huh?
This is my wife, Diane.
Hi, Diane. Nice to meet you. Let me get you all together, real close. Kind of scrunched together. I'm sorry, isn't this embarrassing?
Mark says you've been at work with that canvas from the very beginning.
I have since they first broke ground, and now it's fun to think that the structure of this is his and his people's handiwork.
I was repaired for a little Christmas once. Now she asked me how he's doing. I said, now he's 20.
Yeah, big class. Art teacher on second semester.
Yeah, second semester was 20.
It's 24 class.
We live in an interesting time. Did you know that? You live in interesting times. That's interesting.
Oregon and
What a great day! What a great day! Yeah. Well, we're sure glad to be a part of it, Marlon, and I'll be doing a series of interviews in the next week or so. So we'll get together.
What I think is nice, so many people just stay forever and ever and ever.
I mean, it's 4:50, and we started at 11.
There were 160 people here then.
Yeah. You're going to be tired. I need to go back down.
Oh my goodness.
Mail to Herman Landis.
Oh, look at in the old hotel. Wow. And that almost looked like a dining room.
Looking across
too.
the hotel at Miller Hall.
This is the hotel here?
Yeah.
And that's Miller.
So I guess it kind of looked like
So
that.
what's this then?
That's the old hotel.
Oh, that's the old hotel.
So you look across the front of the old
Wow.
hotel to Miller Hall.
Isn't
You
that
can go over there and it's the kids.
Power lines in the way.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's something.
Want me to hold that?
Yeah, just a,
New Era banquet or something out there in front of the old hotel. Look at all the people.
Isn't that something?
now this is the special collections room.
Yes.
Building Laverne College. I wonder if that would have been like a Bill Laverne Day.
Must have been. Well,
And
must
those were all
have
the
been.
participants.
Maybe it's had something to do with fundraising program to build the new building.
Yeah.
This must be a picture of the same thing, only color tint.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and enlarged.
How did it come about that this was named in your honor?
Well, we made a contribution to this project, and we would have an office named after us, and apparently the Board of Trustees said we'd like to go a little further than that, and they did that. We appreciate it very much.
It seems
Very
especially
hands-on.
appropriate, though, this the history of the university all the way back to your family and.
We were very honored by their gesture of naming the special collections room. And, you know, I think there's history behind this table. I think it belonged to a governor of Colorado, and it was given to us through an estate. And so there's just a lot of history in here, and beyond this door are the special collections of the university, and this is where people will study those special collections. Is that right, Marla?
And I think this table is where I studied intellectual history with Herb Hogan.
And I remember as a student sitting in the
Sat around.
Mueller room over in the Hoover Library and having meetings around this table. It was about the only conference room on campus at the time.
And in Herb's class, if you didn't volunteer, he volunteered you, so you better keep up with your reading.
I escaped.
Did you see whose invitation to the picnic?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Herman
isn't that
Landis.
something?
And that's this picnic.
Yes, and
Picture.
when these trees were planted.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, okay. That was.
1919, it was the first Armistice Day.
And they think there were 1,000 people here.
It says there were.
How many people do you think were here today? Did anyone do an official count? The Department of Parks and Forests, or was it the National Parks or something in Washington, D.C. didn't do a count for us?
Where is the big Georgesburg picture? I haven't seen it.
This for the tower turned out to be.
I was telling Marlon the other day, I may want to check this out occasionally. It's a great place to have a meeting. You can just close these doors. And what a great place for 4 or more people to sit and have a conference. And inspiring views. You know, I think Ben did such a great job with the windows, putting them at sitting height.
A lot of thought.
Just, yeah, the detail. The chandeliers, the oak in the building.
These were custom made, isn't that correct?
Yes?
Critical Pronouncing Dictionary. Oh my, look at that.
That's the plot plan for this.
Oh, okay.
What a great day, Anne.
Yeah, isn't this wonderful? really exciting to have a vision and have a concept and then see the whole thing birthed. It was wonderful.
Well, you were part of the committee or headed the
Yes,
committee?
I started the whole thing going and located architects and interviewed architects and got statements of need from the various departments. So we could put a facility together that met the program demands.
Well, so much history, and you know, you figure, well, 10 years plus for you guys in the
Yes.
presidency, but
Yeah.
also with your families and all of this.
Yeah, Steve is third generation, and my brother and I both attended.
Yeah. I saw a college picture of you.
I didn't look like me now, did I?
Your hair was long. You
Long.
let your hair get long.
Yeah, and it was a little lighter in those days.
Well, we're awfully proud, and we're proud for you guys and for all of us, really. Yeah, what a treat.
This has been a dream come true.
Yeah, and I still heard just a little quiver in Steve's voice with about Skip.
Yeah, that's been really hard.
Yeah.
This was a facility that Skip was supposed to be able to come and share our joy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't here, so that was tough.
Yeah, but a day of celebration.
A day of celebration.
I like the way Steve handles that.
Yeah.
He's watching. If I'm not careful, he plays a trick on me.
Yeah, yeah. He does, that's true.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
This is something I want for our archives.
Yeah. My gravelly voice today.
You getting over a cold?
Well, yeah.
Well, you really did a magnificent job. Oh, you know,
If you don't have this kind of teamwork starting with her, cracking the whip, and making people try to address the universal thinking. If somebody knows something going on, if there's pressure of time, then mistakes start.
Yes.
So you had the luxury of time to.
Well, I learned a long time ago that it's much wiser to take the time on the front end of planning a building rather than have a building complete and say, I wish we would have taken more time to really think it through. And I think on this project, we delayed it a number of times because we didn't feel that we had planned as thoroughly as we needed to. And I think now we say we didn't shortcut the planning process. We took the full time we needed.
That's a lesson that some people never learn.
And I think that's true. Well, it takes everybody.
Yeah.
It's true.
That is, of course, the organizational thing that I have that has nothing to do with Steve. That's just on Monday. Making excuses for rooms, the power room.
Oh, look at the tower. It's a great room.
Isn't it? It's a nice place to hang out.
Great place
Dream your dreams.
Great place for an office.
Wow. Isn't that neat?
Oh, you tore the paint off the wall already. A lot of time to redecorate.
Now, are you taking in 2 people on a tour since you're such a pro at it?
Okay, get a group picture. We're gonna make you famous. All right, real close together. Real close together. Is this that there's a brick down there that says women? Yeah.
We haven't seen it yet.
All right, you haven't seen it yet.
No, we're going down.
All right.